Why I spent the whole month of July trying to read books that would terrify me, I have no idea, but here we are. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Hannah, and on this channel, we talk everything books, guys. All the books I'm reading, my thoughts on them, if you should or should not read them. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about all the books I read in the month of July. I read 5 books in the month of July. Most of them were audiobook. Most of them. I think it was 3 out of the 5 were audiobooks. And there were other books that I read during this month, but I didn't finish them. So I'm only going to be talking about the ones that I finished, and I only have like 20 minutes to do it because I have to go pick up my kids. So we're going to do it as fast as we can. The first book I read this month, actually the first 3 books I read this month, I did for a readathon where I attempted to scare myself by reading scary books. And so I'm not going to go very in depth about each of them because you can watch the vlog to see all of my extended thoughts, but I am going to give you my rating and my general thoughts about them. The first book I read and finished in the month of July is The Oath by Frank Peretti. Again, you can watch my thoughts in the reading vlog. I only gave this book 2 stars. Essentially what it's about this small town in the mountains where there's this ancient curse or ancient legend of a monster that will come and eat you when you sin. And I mean, I don't really think there's much more you need to know about it. It's a very, very long book. It's like 650-ish pages. I don't know. I listened to it on audio, which was helpful, but in my opinion, there was just so much description in some cases that was unnecessary. And it made me less than thrilled and more bored than I expected I would be. I didn't care for some of the characters. And man, I feel so bad. I really, really wanted to. And that doesn't mean that you won't like it. It just meant that that was not the thriller for me. And I'm sad because it's a book I've been wanting to read forever. And it's really highly hyped. So please don't hate me. But it wasn't my favorite book. The next book I read this one physically. It's called Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. Actually, I have the physical copy. One second. Found it. Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This was my first Riley Sager novel. He's a thriller author, and this book is essentially about a woman named Jules who answers an ad to become an apartment sitter at a famous old building called the Bartholomew. There's a lot of mysterious stuff that starts happening. Her neighbor actually goes missing. And so she's trying to figure out why she went missing, why everybody's being so weird and secretive about it. And I really enjoyed this book. I will put a list of trigger warnings right here. The ending of this book is extremely dark, a lot darker than I'm used to reading, I would say. And a lot of other people have said that this is more so a thriller with a touch of horror. And I definitely would agree with that. This book is not for everyone. I'm going to repeat it. This book is not for everyone. Do not go into this lightheartedly and expect to, not be terrified. Because I was pretty terrified after reading this book. I didn't sleep very well those first couple of nights. But I did give this 4 stars because I just could not stop thinking about the ending. I still can't stop thinking about it. I think it's just so clever. And I was able to guess one of the twists. It was pretty obvious to me, but even if you can guess that first twist, there's no way that you could guess the other one. Well, I mean, maybe there is, but I'm going to put money on that you may not be able to. I enjoyed it. If you want to hear more of my thoughts about it, you can go watch that reading vlog. The next book I read for that reading vlog is Behind Closed Doors by V.A. Paris. And this one is essentially about a married couple that are pretty mysterious. And they seem normal and they seem super happy on the outside. But there's all these weird things about them. Like the fact that the wife will not go out in public with anything in her bag. And she also doesn't ever answer the phone. And she doesn't have a phone. So a lot of weird things. And so you're trying to figure out what's the weird thing going on. At first, when I finished this book, I wanted to give it 3 stars, but the more I thought about it, the more clever I thought this thriller was. And again, this is not going to be one that you want to just pick up lightheartedly. I'm going to put some descriptions, some content warnings right here. The ending, the whole book and the ending both are pretty dark. a lot darker than I'm used to, I would say. But again, that was kind of the point of that reading vlog. But I really enjoyed this book a lot more than I expected to. And yeah, if you're okay with these content warnings, and if you're okay with kind of like a dark storyline and a dark ending, give it a try. The last two books I'm going to talk about, I actually also talked about in another reading vlog. So I'm just going to link both of those down below and you can hear my full thoughts. This next book I read is called Bring Her Back, also by B.A. Paris. I was so taken aback and surprised at how much I liked that first one that I decided to give another one a try. This one is about a man whose wife goes missing under mysterious circumstances, and throughout his grieving process, he ends up falling in love with his presumed dead's wife's sister. This is like years and years and years later. And they are engaged. As they had just got engaged, they start getting these weird clues that maybe she didn't die. Layla is her name, that maybe Layla didn't die. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I will say that I only gave it 2 stars. I really did not get the ending. Like, it was a little too confusing for me, and the whole book was a little more slower paced than I would have liked. Didn't really like any of the characters, and I don't know, this thriller just felt a little dry for me. It felt more like a family drama novel than a thriller. So that's it. And then the last book I read this month was The Rescue by Nicholas Sparks. Okay, I'm not going to say too much because you can go to my reading vlog. This was the only 5 out of 5 star book for me this month, and it jumped up to my favorite romance of this whole year. It was so beautiful and so good. What I will say is, I've never read a Nicholas Sparks book before. This is my first one. If you're looking for a happy, lighthearted romance, this is probably not the one for you. But if you're like me and you like the romances that tackle deeper topics and harder subjects and, you know, somewhat thrilling elements as well to it, then this is a good option for you. What it's about is, it's about a carpenter / volunteer fireman named Taylor, and a woman who's a waitress and a stay-at-home mom as well to her son who has learning disabilities. Her name's Denise. And they meet because her son goes missing in the middle of a storm, and he's the one that goes out to try to find him. Every single thing about this book was just so beautiful. I loved everything about it. I loved the characters. I loved the side stories. I loved the backstories of the characters. I just love this book so much. And I don't really know what else there is to say about it because I said a lot more about it in the reading vlog, so you can go look at it there. But 5 out of 5 stars from me, and I can't wait to read more Nicholas Sparks. And those are all 5 books that I read in the month of July. And hopefully I'm going to be able to film and get the video up for all the books I read in August. I know that starting out this YouTube channel has been a little chaotic, like things are kind of happening and coming out of order, but that's okay. I'm still having a blast bringing these book recommendations to you guys. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've read any of these books that I've talked about. If you agree with my rating or if you disagree, I can take it, guys. We all have different opinions. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, like this video, and God willing, I will see you in the next video. Bye.